company, yeah? So we basically, as I like to tell people, guide people in relation to what's the best technology for their organization, yeah, how best you can use your technology. Quite often as IT providers, we have our sweet spot. So you have people telling you, hey, you know, Windows computers are the best, or I like my Linux machines. That's not necessarily the case. We basically try to find out what's the best solution for you. And sometimes that best solution may not be the standard solution, but hey, we either can do that for you, or we can guide you to the right person to implement such a solution. Right? Anyway, moving on to the topic at hand, big data. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure some of the other speakers would have talked to you or spoken to you about big data. But a very quick synopsis, a very quick summary. Big data, and it's all around us. It really is now. Right? All of us are generating data as we travel, as we speak. Those of us who have mobile phones. As you move around, as you travel, those phones will give you a map of where you are going. Yeah, where you have been, how long you've been there. Practical example, someone contacted me with some concern about 6 months ago, and she said, hey, I just pulled up this feature on my phone, and it just revealed to me everywhere I went over the last 7 days. And I said, yes, I mean, your phone gathers that data, it's stored, it's sent back to your providers, it's just there. She was very concerned. Myself, as a provider, I'm aware it's there, you know, hey, that's just how the phones work. But for many of us, we don't know that. We don't know that someone who has access to our phone records or logs can actually easily access this information if you don't have the requisite controls put in place. Right? And that brings us to the quote-unquote dirty secret in terms of big data, the whole aspect of security. Because I'm pretty sure if I walked around now and said, hey, Mr. Devenish, what's your salary? He wouldn't respond to me immediately, right? And I quite often get that, you know, many people don't necessarily want to reveal their salary. But if you go online, if you go into Google, you type Dropbox tax returns. Just type that term. You're not going to get locked up for it or anything. Just type it in, right? And you're going to see a number of images pop up with actual tax returns that have been submitted by people, where it shows that information, how much money they make a year, yeah, what tax has been taken out, what claims they've made, so on and so forth. Yeah, because unfortunately this data is being gathered, but quite often it's not being secured in the manner that it should be secured, right? Yeah, so big data, you know, is here because it's so powerful. Many of us have questions to using it, right? But at the same time, how to secure that data then becomes important, then becomes critical. And part of the challenge is that quite often, because it's such a new technology, many people either don't have the requisite training, or alternatively they may be under a deadline. They may be told, look, I need you to deploy this big data system by the end of May, and you're just trying to get out the door. You're thinking about, hey, let me sign up for a free account or using Microsoft Azure, for example, right, which is a relatively cheap way to get online in terms of big data. But you put your data up online onto the server where it might be located in the United States, it might be in the UK, it might be in Singapore. You don't know where that data is, and you don't know who might really have access to that data, right? Right. So security often becomes an afterthought, right? And it only becomes a problem when that data then becomes revealed, right? Or someone complains. I mean, yeah, for many of us, we might be a little concerned if someone sees that our salary, but hey, we could probably survive. But what happens if they find out our medical conditions? Yeah, and what happens if our providers, what happens if your insurance company sees that you have pre-existing medical conditions, saying that they are concerned about, and they say, hey, I'm going to withdraw your coverage, I'm going to increase your rate because I wasn't aware you had this condition. And you know, it may be genuine, you may not have thought that you were hiding any information, but hey, you know, hey, I had asthma as a child, I no longer have it, why do I need to put this on my medical form? But to them, they may say, aha, there's a possibility you may get asthma in the future, let me increase your rate by $100. And as I said, that data may not be on the form you submit to them, but using big data, it may be readily accessible by an easy Google search. Right? So yeah, security, as I say, is the dirty secret. It's the important secret though. And more providers are looking to see how do you enable that security. How do you ensure that when someone puts their data online, another person can't use Google or another search engine to really pull that information. Right? We move to the Internet of Things as well. And I teach a class, an Introduction to Ethical Hacking. And one of the very first exercises we go through, I actually take people online and have them quote-unquote scan Barbados. Using a tool that's out there, I'll call it a tool called Showdown. You can look it up yourself. But when you scan, you'll be amazed at how many organizations pop up who have basically open servers, yeah? Basically servers are there, so quite often they have the username and password printed there. So at that point I usually stop. I say, hey, you know, don't log into anybody's server, you don't have their permission. But if you know the tool, if you feel a little risky or you're risk averse, you may go ahead and log in. And you have ready access to many organizations in Barbados data. Because quite often we're not aware that this kind of data is out there. Right? And yeah, but I mean, it is, and let me just say this, I'm not saying that because of this, let's withdraw from big data. We shouldn't, and quite honestly we can't, right? It is the reality. As I mentioned, all of us are generating this data. It's going to become more and more prevalent. You know, if someone comes and gives you a Fitbit for Christmas, or they give you a Samsung Galaxy S8, you're going to take it, you're going to be very happy. Yes, that's a hint to telecoms, I don't mind Christmas gifts. Right, yeah, but you're going to take that device, but that device is now pushing data out into the cloud, onto the web. And someone can actually readily access that information, yeah, and track and find out what's going on. Tomorrow, I believe it's from 6 to 7:30, we're going to have a session which further explores this in terms of big data. Yeah, and part of that will be the security aspect of big data. And that's going to occur at St. Leonard's School. We start at 6 p.m. We look forward to a robust discussion. You know, it's a panel discussion. So yes, the panelists will give their point of view, but then we'll definitely be looking forward to you as the general public to come in and also tell us what you think of big data, how it is already affecting you, what kind of security controls need to be put in place as well. Because quite often it becomes the job of the regulators, our government, right? They need to understand, you know, what are the benefits, but also what are the threats involved in this, you know, and then how do we move to address this? Yeah, and one last very bad story I'll say. Yeah, someone comes to me, hey, I'm having boyfriend problems, quote unquote. I said, good, you know, they want me to counsel them. They're like, no, you're the IT guy. I want you to install some software onto this phone for me, so that I can track what they're doing. I'm like, no, I can't do that. And they say, yeah, sure, and they gave me the software. And this person, as far as I know, they're not that technically adept, right? But here's the average person, and they already know how to do this. Yeah, basically they thought I could hack the person's phone remotely and push it onto the phone, yada yada. That's not my job. I say, don't want to get involved with that trouble. Yeah, but you know, that's the reality. That's real world. That's what big data enables. But at the same time, there are benefits there, because if someone becomes ill, you're wondering, hey, where's that person? They're lost. I can't find them. You know, I can use triangulation to locate, and I'm speaking to the providers, I can actually locate that person even if they're unconscious once their phone is on, right? Yeah, so they're the negatives, but they're definitely the positives as well. Yeah, big data is here with us, so let's look to see how we can leverage it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yes, okay, ladies and gentlemen, so now we know what we are all about. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to go to a government department, and a lot of people have been making some complaints about this organization. They've got a job to do, and everybody feels that we should try to get away with things. Ladies and gentlemen, to explain what is happening, I would like now to introduce you to Mr. Roger Blackman from Bra. I ain't hear the boy clapping. Man, clap for you, man. That's the job to give.
Good afternoon. I represent the Barbados Revenue Authority, but I am the IT manager within the Revenue Authority. First, let's say thanks to the Telecommunications Unit for inviting the Revenue Authority to be a part of this event, and for choosing the topic of big data that we can look at. Big data for a big impact. Just a little on the Barbados Revenue Authority. Just going to give you our vision statement, and that is to be a model tax administration committed to serving our taxpayers and the public of Barbados, and contributing to the economic well-being of our nation. And our mission is to administer tax and promote voluntary compliance in a cost-effective manner by providing quality service to our taxpayers through an empowered and engaged staff. And we are pretty much adapt to accomplishing, meeting the vision and accomplishing following the mission that we have set out for ourselves. And just to remind you that the Barbados Revenue Authority is a pretty young organization. It was only established in 2014. It was only established in 2014 by Act of Parliament. So we're pretty young, and as you would imagine, with infants, you tend to, when you're growing up, you tend to fall, you crawl, you stand up, you fall, that kind of thing, but you keep going, you never give up. And we're not giving up. We are intended to be that model for tax administration in Barbados and the wider region. The first question we can ask ourselves this evening is, what is big data? And I want to give you just a few contributions from some folks that got off the internet. Lisa Arthur, a contributor for Forbes.com, she says, big data is a collection of data from traditional and digital sources inside and outside your company that represents a source for ongoing discovery and analysis. From the IBM website, it says big data is being generated by everything around us at all times. Every digital process and social media exchanges produces it. Systems, sensors, and mobile devices transmit it. Big data is arriving from multiple sources at an alarming velocity, volume, and variety. To extract meaningful value from big data, you need optimal processing power, analytics, capabilities, and skills. And then from Data Science Central, it says big data is data that even when efficiently compressed, still contains 5 to 10 times more information than what you are used to right now. It may require a different approach to extract value. And the last one is from the New York Times. What's big in big data isn't necessarily the size of the databases. It's the big number of data sources we have as digital sensors and behavior trackers migrate across the world. As we triangulate information in more ways, we will discover hitherto unknown patterns in nature and society, and pattern making is the wellspring of new art, science, and commerce. There are some things in these definitions that are common. I don't think you're going to get one definition from a whole lot of sources saying the same thing about big data, but you will find some commonalities. And if I may sum it up, big data is not about the size of the data, but the insights one can gain from the data by considering all the data. It's more about the insights we can gain from the data by considering all the data. Big data calls for complex algorithms that will consider structured, unstructured, and semi-structured data and spit out insights that will give answers to the questions being asked. And that's important. What questions are being asked is so important. That will drive the use of big data within any environment. Just a few questions. Do we currently have big data? Do we currently have big data? Remember, we had a meeting after we got the invitation and we discussed this whole issue of whether we had big data or not, and at the end of the day, the jury was still out. It wasn't clear. Everybody had different opinions on whether they had big data or not. But here I'll give you a few things that must be considered when we're looking at whether we have big data or not. We must ask ourselves the question, is all the data we are using, is it being considered? Are we considering all the data we have? The analytics behind the capacity of, the analytics is beyond the capacity of the in-house structures. Are we able to identify that our ability to analyze the data beyond what we have in-house, to analyze that data? Also, the questions being asked, do they lead to more questions? It's easy to ask how much revenue did we collect in May last year. We can pull that straight off. But with big data, that question must lead to another question. Like, where is it coming from? How is it being generated? How the taxpayers are making their payments? Is it online? Is it at the counter? Is it by cash, by check? How they're doing it? So big data questions must lead to other questions. And those questions will cause us to dig deeper into the data for more insights, which will then feed into our decision making. And then the last one is the value. Is value being derived from the data? It's okay to have a lot of data, which we do have across the government agencies, but is value being derived from the data? That is a very important question. This being said, any implementation of big data must consider one, the analytics being applied, the data sets being used, and the questions that are being asked. We must look at these three things: analytics being applied, the data sets that are used, and the questions being asked. And more often than not, we tend to stick to the traditional data sets. When people just come in and fill out information on the computer, it goes straight into databases. Paper forms, we might tend to use them a whole lot, but we don't tend to use all the data on the paper forms. So we're still missing in some information from our data sets. If we can say yes to all the questions, then the question has been answered as to whether we have big data or not. It's analytics that considers all the data being applied. It's value being derived from the data. Our questions being asked that drives the organization into the data for answers. Question number 2. How can we benefit from such implementations? We wanted to talk about big data and having it, but another thing to implement the use of big data, recognize we have it, then implement its use to benefit the organization. 95% of the data held by your organization is structured, that is stored in rows and columns within a database. But analytics is not done in all the columns. And as I give you the example, if we want to know how much money we collect in a certain period, we just look for that, we pull that alone, we forget about the time the person paid and all the other information. And we just pull that amount and that's it. What this allows us to do, once we consider all the columns, is to identify collection patterns as it relates to tax revenue. It does not allow us to identify patterns as it relates to taxpayer behavior. And that's important. Behavior feeds into making good decisions. Why is this? And this is so because we don't consider all the data. We have it, but we don't consider all in our decision making processes. If we are able to consider all the data, then this will lead to insights that will influence such things as, and for us, it will be our customer relationship programs. And yes, the Barbados Revenue Authority is fully focused on being a customer-centric organization. So having all this data, looking at all the columns within the data sets would allow us to feed or to influence what we do in terms of our customer relationship. It would also influence the time involved in decision making. And this is across the board. Things like revenue forecasting would be influenced. Taxpayer involved in complex programs will be influenced as well. Staff engagement programs, very important. Information assets have the revenue stream. A lot of times we have information within our organizations, but we don't see it as an asset that has tremendous monetary value. And so a lot of times that information feeds out of the organization, and most of the organizations don't know, but we consider it to be a revenue asset, then we restrict how that information is used, how it goes out, who it goes to, and eventually we get people to pay for that information. It also will influence the exploration of new avenues of revenue generation. It is something that we need within Barbados, to find new avenues for revenue generation and not just stick to the traditional revenue generating streams. We need to identify more. And there are a whole lot of other benefits that we can derive from having using big data within our organization. The benefits can only be limited by the ability to do 3 things: invest time, money, and people. The benefits can only be limited by our ability to invest time, money, and people. And these are 3 resources that we must see that we need to improve or increase if we're going to benefit from big data. When we start to look at big data, we start to examine, they talk about data scientists. Now that's money, that's time, that they will need to analyze the data, that they will need to spend looking at that. And the last question is, what would be the impact? What would be the impact of implementing big data within our organizations? Now, any big data implementation must consider these 3 things: velocity, volume, 4 things, sorry, variety, and veracity of the data. Velocity speaks to the speed of the data, or the speed at which data is accumulated, or the speed at which data is consumed. You can post something that's so false on WhatsApp or Facebook, and you'll be amazed that within less than 5 minutes it's covered the whole of Barbados. And everybody heard about it. And we have, I believe most of us have experiences of false information going around on Facebook or WhatsApp. The speed with which the data is being transmitted. Volume speaks to the scale of the data. or the increase in the amount of data stored. And if we consider all the data sets, data from your, not only what your traditional data of going on the net and filling out forms and what goes into our databases, but data straight from your cell phone, data from wearable devices, data if your house is connected, data from that, all that data feeds in. So we have different stream, picture data, all these kind of different data sets we have that feed and speaks to the scale of the data. The variety speaks to the diversity of the data. And veracity, the conformity to facts and accuracy. Is the information real or is it false? Can we trust the provider of the data? These things must be considered. Such an implementation would result in greater collaboration among government entities. And this is what we need to have. Greater collaboration among government entities where sharing of information is concerned. I remember some years back hearing about the program in the Ministry of Health where they were mapping in the ArcGIS. I think it was where people were, who had dengue. I think they were mapping where the people live who got dengue, right? And trying to find some patterns and stuff from that, right? But that information could be shared with other agencies, right? And we could have asked other questions like, after dengue, did they have other complications? Did it affect anything else? What do we know about the areas where these people live? And big question is, did they really get the dengue within the area they live, or did they get it someplace else? Right? And we address all these things. Information can now be shared in a proactive manner. Most of the time we find ourselves to be reactive. But with big data, we can now see or envision what's going to happen, and we can say, okay, we can prepare for this. We can give information that can lead to good decision making to help us to preempt certain events are happening and that kind of thing. New revenue streams can be identified and new jobs can be created. This is what we want in our country, that new jobs be created, and I believe that using big data science can assist in this. For us, a single view of the taxpayer becomes a reality. And that's one of the things that we are in the Revenue Authority pushing for, to have a single view. When you come and sit before one of our officers, we will give you one view and show you everything related to you as a taxpayer. And we are standing on principles of transparency and integrity. There will be a greater reliance on cloud computing. I don't think that we have within our individual silos the capacity to do all the needed analytics to benefit from big data. So therefore cloud computing, but then when we hit cloud computing, the question asks, where is it sitting in the cloud? Where is the cloud located? Where are the servers in back end located? Is it a jurisdiction that will protect the data, or will it be a jurisdiction that where the government say, okay, we want that information, you're going to give it? That's a big question with cloud computing. But there will be a greater reliance on cloud computing. New job areas will be developed. Not only new jobs, but new job areas will be developed. And I've not heard of any job areas in Barbados for big data scientists and stuff like that. I've not heard that as yet. Agencies will now have to tighten their conformity to corporate governance by pushing ahead to have a number of things done. These are one of the impacts of the data that's coming. I was just this morning looking at a bill from 2005 that spoke to data protection, the data protection bill from 2005 that had not even passed in Parliament yet, and that's a bill that we need to push. So new legislation implementing government information sharing. So we need legislation that will cover data protection, information sharing has to be there. Implementation of information security policies. Organizations will need to have these policies within their organization implemented, monitored, and they will have to take time to educate staff within concerning the use of these policies and stick to the policy. Something is totally wrong with when you are given a security pass and you can get any building without your security pass. And that's a simple thing, right? So there's totally wrong with that. So you have to enforce these policies. Development of procedures with strict adherence to security policies. A lot of times procedures do not coincide or not coherent with the security policies, so we need to review those policies and make sure that the procedures that we have are coherent with the policy. And then One of the bigger impacts will be open borders for information sharing. Open borders. I know in the past we were so concerned about who owns the data. Who owns the data? But we can still keep our ownership of data and share data for the benefit of everyone who uses the data. That is a possibility. So I hope you will consider these things concerning big data, and I thank you for inviting the Barbados Revenue Authority for being here today. Thank you.